going on, y'all? How's your guys' day going? My day's good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're having a good day. Something that was on my mind that I don't see people, I guess, make the distinction of or talk about very often is the difference between being an attractive person and being attractive looking. And I feel like it's very important to understand this distinction just for obvious reasons, right? Because you hear constantly all the time now where people are obsessing over every minute thing, and that isn't uncommon, or it isn't necessarily new, right? Because a lot of people try to make a lot of things seem like they're brand new, or make it seem as if this is the first time this has ever happened, right? Like, people have been obsessing over looks forever, but now we do the inverse, where we not only obsess over looks, but we obsess over personalities, and we curate a personality rather than organically living one or being a personality. It simply is whatever works in the moment, or whatever is going to get you the desired reaction. And so anyways, I think it's very important to understand this distinction, because how you go about yourself and how you understand how people respond to you is equally as important as how you carry yourself, right? Because you hear that all the time. People love to tell you, oh, it's about how you carry yourself. It's about how you carry yourself. And so it's very important to understand how it is that someone is reacting to you. It's very important to understand how someone is engaging with you, right? And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to obsess over it, and, the quote, comparison is the thief of joy, has been completely forgotten, apparently. And so that's definitely not supposed to be the point of this video, right? I'm not telling you to compare, I'm not telling you to obsess over these things, but I do think that it is important. I do think it's important to be not only honest, but realistic, right? Because if I could speak personally, I feel as though that a lot of the people that not even necessarily romantically, but just friendly, just from a friendly perspective, I feel as though that it can come across almost kind of like when you get a pet, if that makes sense. And it might sound weird. This might be a weird example, but I feel like it fits. It's almost as if people will approach you, specifically when you're an attractive person, right? Basically what that just means is that you have interesting qualities to you, or whatever that might mean. People will treat you and approach you the same way that they might approach a cat or like a brand new puppy, right? Like, you're very new and you're very, I guess, just like, there's so much to take in all at once that they kind of they spend all of their energy and they spend all of their time interacting with this puppy or with this cat, but they do it so much so fast that within the week, now you're boring. Now you're no longer interesting. Now you're no longer whatever it might be. And, this is not uncommon. This is definitely not something that a select few people feel, right? This happens to attractive people too. This happens to everybody. However, it isn't spoken of in the same way that being attractive looking is, which I find very odd. Because, right, social media people, they like to try to make you think that the only opportunity you'll ever have is being attractive. And that is true. There are a lot more opportunities. There are a lot more, I guess you could say, chances that you'll have if you are attractive. At least when it comes to looks, of course, right? There are going to be just more glances, right? In the most literal sense. People are going to want to walk up to you more. People are going to want to be around you more, etc., right? However, I feel as though that what ends up happening is you determine the type of person you're dealing with based upon how they react to you, specifically with the type of person you are, right? So if you are more of an attractive looking person, then you might be in terms of your personality, in the sense that you're interesting, right? Or that kind of like, again, the puppy analogy, right? Like, you're brand new. I feel as though that if they end up appreciating not just your personality, because there's so much more to that. I hate the fact that people put it into those two categories specifically, right? People try to make it seem as if it quite literally is like a versus. Like they make it seem as if it's your looks versus your personality, as if they're on a scale. And I feel like that is a large reason why we dilute and have this like very misguided perspective about how we look at people, right? Just people, just being people, right? People are not necessarily measured by their personality. They might be categorized, but to be measured by your personality, that's something very different, which is exactly what we do, right? And not only that, but for some reason we attach like a value, like we attach like a number, right? So for example, right, you see those statistics all the time where it'll come out and it'll say something so superficial and stupid like, oh, top 10 things that a man does, or rather top 10 hobbies that men do that women find attractive. And the first one, of course, at least I believe, if I remember correctly, is reading. And don't get me wrong, is that an attractive quality? Yeah, but obviously you can understand that if somebody is specifically looking for the top, attractive qualities about a person, they're likely not doing it because they actually care for the hobby in of itself, but rather the way in which it comes across, right? So basically window shopping is the equivalent of what people that think that way do, right? Men and women, because believe it or not, people, for some reason we seem to think that only one side does certain things, but regardless, people will essentially window shop not just for attractive looks, but for being an attractive person. And it's gotten to the point now where they have become so blended, and not in a good way, right? Where, oh, it's like, it's interchangeable, or, you might not necessarily look at a person the same way because they're just a person, right? They're not looking, or they're not thinking of it in that, I guess, nuanced manner. No, if anything, it's actually the complete opposite now, where you can be the most attractive looking person, but if you fail to meet the correct criteria of how to be an attractive person, people are going to look at you just different in a lot of ways. And they, you might have more chances. Like I said, like you might initially have more chances, but towards the end, it seems like people, like, I don't even know. I really don't know. I don't know what it is people are necessarily doing when they decide to no longer be interested in whoever it is they're interested in. And that might sound confusing, but basically what it is I'm trying to say is that we have gotten to the point now where a person, just being a person, right? When I say that, like quite literally just existing, right? They look at you and they have a checklist, which again is not new. But whereas in the past, somebody might look at you and be like, oh, he doesn't work out. Oh, she doesn't read. Oh, he plays too much video games. Oh, she shops too much, right? Something random, right? People might look at you, at least in the past, like I said, they might look at you from this perspective of the checklist. But now the checklist is just anything that you can think of, right? Like you see all the time the icks. You see all the time about the 3-month rule, right? You see just an absurd amount of arbitrary, asinine, like I don't even know what to call them, because they aren't qualities. They aren't, or I guess rules, right? Because that's what they always say. Oh, the rule, the 3-month rule. Oh, the this rule, the orange rule, or whatever it was called. I don't even remember. It was, theory, not rule. It was theory. It was the 3-month theory. Oh, the orange theory, right? They just come up with anything at any point in time. And it can literally just be somebody random too. It doesn't even have to necessarily be based upon anything. It can just be, oh yeah, one time I asked my boyfriend to cut me an orange and he didn't, so now I know everything I need to know about him. But regardless, what the video was supposed to be about is the distinction and how these things have become blended, and how we no longer, which again, I know is not new, I know is not, like, it's being spoken about all the time, but there's this weird thing that we do where we talk about things, but we don't actually specify what these things mean, or like we don't delve into something and the reasons why we think it. We simply just say it as if people are supposed to understand it, right? So for example, we talk all the time about the whole looks maxing BS, right? About clavicular and the whole idea that your face is supposed to look a certain way. And yes, obviously, from an objective perspective, that is true. And that, yeah, if you look a certain way, you're going to look more attractive. However, what we fail to do is to look at these people as people to begin with, right? That's the way we fail before we even begin. And we do that because we have, again, like I was saying, we have blended these two categories that are supposed to be aspects that you might enjoy about a person, but now it's the complete opposite. Now it's, these are aspects that make you valuable as a person, rather than these are aspects that tell me who you are as a person, right? So obviously, if you meet somebody who likes to read, yeah, they might be more sophisticated, but now it's not looked at it's not looked at that way anymore. It's not approached in the way where, I don't know, this is just something about you. No, now it's put on a level. Now it's put, again, on the same level that being attractive looking might be, where, you know, like let's say in the past, right? If you were an 8 out of 10 looking guy, right? But you had absolutely no hobbies whatsoever, that might not make you as attractive, you know, in the sense of being a person to most people. However, now you could be any of the scale, really. I mean, obviously, if you're 5 and below, I can't honestly say that. I can't say like you're gonna have the same chances, but you could be anything. You could be, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably even 10 now. I mean, like, you know, technically clavicular is a 9.7, they say, right? And so somebody that attractive, even somebody like that now, is put on the same playing field in terms of just, I don't even know. I don't know how to categorize it anymore, because it's gotten so bad to the point, and I know I keep reiterating it, but it isn't even about being a human being. It isn't even about like the existence of your own self. Like, you're literally looked at, like, again, at like the same way that a child obsesses over a cat, like a brand new kitty, right? Or a brand new puppy, right? This child is young enough to understand the appeal about this animal without understanding the connection and, you name it, right? The importance or the responsibility, or you name it, right? Something your parents might tell you, oh, you know, you want this cat, but when it comes down to it and you have to be responsible, you're not going to want it anymore. You're not going to want to deal with it. You're not going to want, you name it, right? And then, of course, there's plenty of people who pick animals based upon how cute they are, right? Believe it or not, you might not believe it, but there are people out there who purposely pick, oh no, that dog looks cuter. Oh, this cat has this random thing about them that I like, or oh, this cat looks more fun, or even people, you know, will go into a shelter and be like, oh, that cat isn't as affectionate. Oh no, I don't want that cat. Which obviously I'm not judging, but the point that I'm trying to make is that we have gotten so obsessed with the value of things and this just really weird optimization, I want to say. Like, I feel like we have streamlined and optimized everything, right? Not just people, but it's gotten so bad to the point now where we do it with each other, right? And people will do it even with friends. They'll do it with their friends, they'll do it with their family, they'll do it with literally anything. And there's no such thing as just existing and having no inherent value to you, meaning you're neither negative nor positive, right? When I say that, I'm not saying you're meaningless, but rather, or valueless, but you're simply just, right? You're just existing, right? Yeah, sure, you go ride a bike every single day. Yeah, sure, you play a lot of video games, right? These things, obviously people observe them and they make their judgments about them, but to do it so publicly and to do it as if there is almost like you walk into a library and you might see a book that says something like, oh, you know, if he does this, it's because of this reason, right? Like, everything always has a reason attached to it. And so anyways, I feel like I'm repeating myself. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it would be a good idea, good video to make, talking about the distinction, because we know, like, it's so ironic. It really is. And this is the last point that I'll make. You know how I was talking about comparison is the thief of joy? We even fail to do that negative thing because we do something even worse, which is we don't even compare. Right now, it's no longer necessarily a comparison of something real. It's a comparison of like anything. And so it, in actuality, couldn't even really be called comparison, right? Because the whole point of that quote is supposed to be that, like, oh yeah, you compare what you have versus what somebody else has, or what something you might want, right? And 9 times out of 10, that's usually something real. That's usually something you might see in the real world, right? But now it's not even necessarily comparison of a thing, it's comparison of what could be. So it's just this void. It's this void of nothingness where, again, at any point in time, somebody might wake up and think, oh, he or she didn't do this, or they did this, and I'm deciding now that I don't like that, and that I no longer want to be with this person, or I'm no longer interested in this person, simply because the void of whatever random thing might appear in their head, it tells them otherwise, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It would. I don't know. I really don't know. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you agree, disagree, let me know what you think down below. If you have any suggestions of what videos I should make, I'd appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier to think about things when I have a goal, right? You can tell I'm very abstract, and it makes it much easier when I actually have something specific to go off of. But anyways, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching.